Yeah, upgrades for ultras, it would have been great here. Yeah, I don't think ultras would have been a bad decision for Elaser. I think no decision would have been bad there, essentially just because Elaser was in such a commanding position. Could have gone for either or, whether it was ultras or broodlords or lurkers. Lurkers would have been a more awkward transition, to be fair, but could have done whatever he wanted. And here we go, we're getting into game number 3. Game number 1 of this best of 3, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our red Protoss player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Harstem. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the favorite in this group. It is representing Team Basilisk. It is Serral. Back to back here, Harstem having some pretty powerful opponents that he has to try to bring down. We'll see if he can have a bit of better luck against Serral. We'll see if he has a different approach. This time, Serral will not, or our Zerg player isn't going to be rushing into the gold. Again, that is something that is very, I don't want to say unique to a laser, but a laser is very fond of it. He's very fond of rushing into the gold in a lot of matchups. Serral just playing this out normal, playing it out standard. This is going to be a hatch gas pool standard opener out of our blue Zerg. Meanwhile, back at home, Harstem getting into his own opener as well. When it comes to rushing into Skytos, I mentioned it in the previous series, but I wouldn't be opposed to doing something like that on a map like Alcyone. This is a map that is known for its more turtle play. You can get your 3rd base and your 4th base up and running without too much issue, even your 5th base as well, whether it's the gold or whether it's this linear 5th. You can just fortify yourself quite heavily here and, force a late game as well. With the long rushes by ground on top of that. We have seen a lot of split map scenarios on Alcyone, so we'll see how Harstem approaches this game. Last time he was here, he did rush into this gold base, but that was also in reaction to a laser rushing into the gold as well, so I doubt that'll happen this time. But we'll see. For now, standard opener out of Serral. Getting to his link speed, pulling out a gas immediately. Very crisp here from Serral, just working on that 100 gas, then taking his 3rd base. The probe of Harstem has arrived, is here to try and delay it, and it looks like we will delay it for a couple of seconds. Nicely done here by Harstem, being as annoying as possible. The Lings have to come back, they did miss the probe, and we will eventually deal with this, and oh my god. Eventually take our 3rd base. It is going to be a little bit delayed, and Serral he has to bring out another drone, take the linear 3rd instead. Oh, we almost do get that drone, but it does morph into that gas geyser just in time. So a nice little disruption here from Harstem. Very nicely done. Unfortunately, Harstem, he hasn't seen the linear 3rd, so he's going to try to wait out this drone and try to shut it down, but oh, he does miss it, and the drone does escape. Oh my god. Harstem, he's on the hunt, he's looking for it, he's checking the gold base. But alas, the drone is going to be hiding here towards the top right. So nice moves out of Serral. Harstem does barely miss it. Behind this, Stargate opener, not into an Oracle, Stargate into Void Ray. Let's go. Void Ray is on the way. So this Void Ray, its job here, its goal is to shut down these Overlords, to keep Serral in the dark. And behind this, we can go into a couple of different directions. We can go for a Twilight Council into Glaive Adepts. We can go for a Fast Fleet Beacon into Skytos. Or we can just get into a normal standard game. So we'll see what direction Harstem does take us in. As the Void Ray, he does see this Overlord, he's going to keep it, he's going to leave it alone, and his goal here is to try to catch some of these other Overlords that are a little bit more exposed, and get some additional secure damage. Meanwhile, Lings, they do go for a big counterattack, they do come across the 3rd base. While the Oracle's in position, we will save it. There we go, an Overlord has been found. So basically, the rationale behind leaving this Overlord alive is because if the Void Ray did attack this Overlord first, then that would ping, and that would tell Serral, oh, it's a Void Ray opener, and then he pulls back with all these Overlords. Then he pulls back, then he saves them all. Because the Void Ray ignores this first Overlord, gets across the map, we get 2 secure kills, 2 additional Overlord kills that you otherwise would not get. So nicely done here. 2 Overlords go down, we recall back home, and we can now clean up the 3rd Overlord. So 3 Overlords already, that's pretty good value for this Void Ray. We're coming in for a scout, and we should deny it. There it is, Twilight Council's on the way. Because it's Harstem, If it was anyone else, I would say Glaive Adepts, because it's Harstem. I would assume this is, oh, I was going to say Blink. It's going to be Charge. Very interesting. Okay. Charge in production. Delayed Forge, delayed +1. Interesting. Oracles, they get across the map. They try to threaten this third base. They don't get much done, though. As the Oracles, they do get the hell out of there. And the fourth is soon to be taken. But yeah, this looks pretty committed. The reason why I say this looks very committed is because there's no Forge. Because of the non-existent or delayed Forge, that means no upgrades, no +1, no +2, no +3, right? It's like, because that looks like we want to hit a much earlier timing instead of looking for a later game and relying on upgrades to have a little bit more longevity here. Void Ray has arrived. Looks like, can we force a cancel? Up! Can we force a cancel? We go for the Queens instead. The Oracles, they dive in. It looks like one of the Queens is going to go down. Nice pick off here from Harstem. But it looks like the base will survive at the same time. Serral, he threatens a Link counterattack. Ooh, Void Ray goes down. A big overextension from Harstem. Ay, ay, ay. But again, behind this, Harstem, he is going to be finishing up Charge. Temple Archives is done for those Archons. Prism is on the way. And we're going to be pushing here with Charge Lot Archon. A very crisp timing. This is designed to catch a Zerg player being a little bit too greedy. And here we go. This can also kill a Zerg if they did run up too much, if they didn't make any roaches. Then you know what? I don't see any roaches. Link's going to be going down. We're diving on top of the Queens as well. The roaches, they come out just in time, but it may just be too late. They get surrounded. Roaches are falling. No Archons, unfortunately. The Prism is still on the way. Good SimCity here by Serral. Kiting back. Well, these Zealots are getting a lot done already. They still need more. Ideally, they want to get into a mineral line. They take down another Roach. This War Prism is late. Like, ideally, you want to hit with these Roaches and the Archons at the same time with the War Prism, but it's a little bit disjointed. And the Zealots are being cleaned up. Now we get the second Robo. Now we get the Forge. So this was pretty committed out of Harstem, and was it worth it? We're still not done. It's still going. The Archons, they have arrived. Zealots as well, but yeah, we have plenty of reinforcements. This time, Serral is in position. And Harstem gets forced back. And as the dust does settle, we have to kind of take stock at where we are. So there's now +1 on the way. Again, delayed upgrades, delayed tech. This push needed to get some economic damage done, and we did kill 7 drones, which is nice. We were able to trade with the Roaches, at least a little bit. But I'm pretty sure we were looking for more damage. Like, the deficit here is pretty huge for Harstem. So he's now working on his 4th base. Trying to build everything else up. Harstem was looking for more damage. He's going to be getting into the double disruptor production. I do like this. I do like the double disruptor because this is a good way to come back. As you should be aware, disruptors, they're very high risk, high reward. And if we can get a juicy connection, we can, even if we're down in supply, down 20, 30, 40 army supply, with good purification novas, we can make up for that. Of course, at the same time, if the novas miss, then we die. It's it's very much so on a nice edge. That's one of the Archons is going to be shut down. Meanwhile, Serral is joining up to 80. Spire was thrown down as well. We're getting into muta production. 12 mutas on the way. Uh-oh. I'm a little bit concerned. The Spire, has it been scouted here? It's here at the 3rd base. And Harstem has come... Okay, Revelation, of course. He has come across it. 2nd Stargate Phoenix production. Okay. He's getting ready. He's aware of the mutas. And Harstem is preparing for it. Shield batteries, cannons finishing up in the main, in the natural. Main army is here at the 3rd. So far, again, good reaction and good scout from Harstem. Now, Serral, because of the revelation, he should be aware that he got scouted. As the mutas are making their way across the map. Heading towards the 4th. Meanwhile, +1 air attack. Oh. 2nd Stargate just now finishing. We're still trying to get a read on how committed we are with these mutas, and we do dive into the mineral line. And probes are going down. Phoenixes, they have to react. It looks like they will, but that's going to be 9-10 dead workers. Oh, and without Phoenix range, it's a very delicate dance that Harstem has to perform. Because we can close the distance, and yeah, we do get a couple of hits in on those Phoenixes. Meanwhile, as the mutas distract the Phoenixes, we do have a big Ling Roach counterattack here at the 4th base. We dive on the cannons. Well, Phoenix does go down. We have the overcharge though, and there are those disruptors. Harstem, he is holding. He did lose 10 workers though, and another Phoenix. Roach counterattack here towards the natural, but again, Harstem, he does have an army in position. Oh. Does fly too close to the mutas though, and he does lose another 2 Phoenixes. Expensive losses here for Harstem. Losing another Phoenix. 5 in total. He will clean up these mutas, but they did well trading with the Phoenixes. And Harstem not able to avoid them. Behind this, Greater Spire is on the way. Harstem, he's already maxed out. He's got an ideal economy, 84 workers. So far, he's still on Lingbane Roach Ravager, but he's working on that Sky Zerg transition. So is Harstem, as Harstem throws down a Fleet Beacon. Now, I do like this from Harstem. He has been able to, for the most part, fortify himself and max out as well. He's going to be pushing into mainly Lingbane Roach Ravager. This can work well for Harstem, depending on the angle of attack. He has to be very careful not to be surrounded. He has to be very wary here as he pushes onto creep. Gonna clean up some of this creep. Should be skirting around the edge here. Pushing up this ramp. I'm not too sure if we can do it. He's going for it though. Oh my god. Brave Papi. Nova goes off. Does graze the army. Yeah, we're gonna back off from here. Wise choice. Wise choice. Trying to rotate around. Queens though waiting on the high ground. They do get caught out for a moment. We still have plenty of Novas. I said that we have 2 Novas available. And Broodlords are on the way already. Nova goes up. Decent connection on Roaches, but the Banelings, they roll in. They crash into the Disruptors. Big connection on the Ravagers, but the Disruptors go down. We are going to be able to push on forward here. The Broodlords, they have a right. Where's the anti-air? We have the Queens. The Queens. They barely do keep the Broodlords alive as well. Clutch Transfuse. Not enough Phoenixes. And Harstem has to back off. That was a brutal trade. Harstem, he lost all his Disruptors. He lost 2 Immortals. He lost every single Archon as well. And now Serral has momentum with those Broodlords. Has to back off. The problem is that he can't move out without his Queens because of the Phoenixes. Tempest production has commenced. At the same time, a Ling counterattack here at the gold. Alright, gonna force Harstem back for a moment. Scout into the main base does confirm the Tempest. Very crucial scout here from Serral. When it comes to his upgrades, still only has +1 a flyer attack. Still only a handful of Broodlords. No Corruptors, which is concerning. Serral is maxed. He wants to trade. He wants to trade out at least the Roaches. Ideally some of the Lingbane as well. Clear up room for those Corruptors. He does come across these Zealots, at the same time going for a counterattack. Trying to break into the natural. Up. Barely doesn't. But again, as he bleeds out Lings, Corruptors are on the way. So he's just refining his army. Prism coming into play here. Coming in for these Zealot counterattacks. Not quite achieving much damage though. Serral has been, again, at that 85 worker count for quite some time. Double expanding. Taking a 6th and 7th base. Harstem getting ready to move out. Harstem's his army is less than ideal though. It's a little bit of a kitchen sink. He has to be very careful with how he trades. Like Harstem, he wants to make room for more Skytils, 100%. He does, but again, he can't lose too much too quickly. I feel like we need to get rid of these Phoenixes. I feel like their time has come and gone. Storm is on the way. Stalkers, yeah. Speaking of throwing away some units, yeah, so he wants to get rid of some of these Stalkers as well. Replaces them with High Templar. That was a brazen way to get rid of the Stalkers, but yeah, it works, it's fine. Behind this, we have everything on the way. We have the Ultra Cavern and the Lurker Den in production. So just all forms of tech here for Serral. We'll have everything available whenever he needs it. To get into broods, lurkers, or oh my god! or lunkers, as we get a massive storm here on the Lings. Speaking of the Lings, oh, that's a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus. Not a bad pickup. We spoke about it before, but again, it's very common to end up in a split map scenario here on Akione. Very commonplace. When it comes to the armies themselves, we are very heavily reliant on these Tempests. I'm concerned that... So my biggest concern when it comes to the army here of Harstem is we don't have enough to protect the Tempests. We have a handful of Archons, a handful of... I mean, a lot of Storms, to be fair. We're heavily reliant on Storms with this army composition. The Immortals are a little bit lackluster at the moment. Immortals are good against Lurkers and Ultras, but we don't have any Lurkers or Ultras. Yeah, so we're throwing away these Stalkers. Like Harstem, again, he knows he needs to get rid of some of this. It's always scary throwing away these Immortals because for all you know, there could be an Ultra switch. And so you kind of want to keep these these Immortals around just in case that were to happen. I'm loving the forward Nexus. Oh my god. Harstem embracing the late game here, throwing down a Nexus for some overcharge. Love to see it. And it's going to be a slow, methodical push here, a slow, methodical siege on this center base. Basically, it's going to be a game of Harstem chipping away at this kind of location, at this area. Serral, when it comes to spellcasters, he doesn't have any Vipers. I know I've been focusing a lot on the army composition of Harstem. When it comes to Serral's composition, he has a good amount of Corruptors, Infestors, Broodlords, but again, no Vipers. So because of that, he can't punish this as hard. He wants to get rid of the Roaches. Gets a High Templar. And there it is. As he's losing Roaches, he's replacing them with Lurkers, which I do appreciate. Lurkers are on the way. They're a really good way to zone away the ground army. So they kind of, in a way, complement those Broodlords. So Serral just turtling up here. Lurker, Brood, Infestor, Corruptor. Again, without Vipers, we can't really be proactive when it comes to diving on this army. We basically have to wait for the army to overextend. We have to wait for Harstem to maybe push forward a little bit too much, and then we can punish it. And Harstem is looking to slowly gain ground. He hasn't expanded here towards the left-hand side, which is dangerous. Serral is taking some of Harstem's bases, and Serral could even try to take this base as well, which is scary. I'm loving the Microbial Shroud on these queens. This base taking a lot of damage. This base on the right-hand side, this should be Harstem's, essentially. This should belong to Harstem. Hatchery does go down. Oh, Lurker's going for a counterattack, actually. Forcing the Tempest to turn around. Uh-oh. That means that there is an opportunity for the Broodlords. There we go. High Templar does fall. Lurkers, they back up for a moment. Tempest have been revealed. And that means, yeah, the Broodlords, they can push forward. As I say that, Tempest, they turn back around. Okay, we're in for a long one. We're in for a slow and methodical game from here on forward. I feel like these Phoenixes had to be thrown away a lot sooner. Finally, they get thrown away. Yeah, we gotta get out of here. Gotta get rid of them. Serral taking it slow and steady. Sure, Serral, he may have lost a base here, but he has top left. And again, still has plenty of efficient mining going on. Long distance mining as well. What's important is that he's still denying this Nexus here on the right-hand side, which is crazy. This Overlord, it needs to be dealt with. So we can finally expand, and there we go. Archons are on the way. And Harstem should take this base. There we go. We have a wall of cannons and shield batteries. Again, the overcharge in the center as well. I love that we're long distance mining, but we still haven't mined the minerals here, right next to the base. Saving them for later. Corruptors, they did dive on forward for a moment. Broodlord's going for a counterattack, actually. Bold move. I mean, Tempests are here on the right-hand side, and they take a long time to respond. Broodlords, they do come in. And they're going to be able to take down an Archon, maybe a High Templar. Tempest, they recall back home. Oh, and Serral is going to be losing these Broodlords. At least one of them. Okay, 1, 2 go down. Here come the Corruptors. They catch these Tempests off guard. They're on their own. The bait. They recall back, and oh, we get 2. Big pickups. They recall to the mothership. So trading 2 Broodlords for 2 Tempests, essentially what happened. And now that the Tempests got recalled twice, now the Broodlords, they can keep pushing. The Broodlords, they can go to town. Back at home, Lurkers are in position. Broodlords, they are coming back home. Nah, never mind. Looks like Serral is taking this very seriously. He wants to try to even come in for a flank. As I spoke earlier, basically Serral has been waiting for Harstem to overextend, and Harstem is pushing out. Tempests are drawn to the Broodlords. Lurkers, they do push forward. Corruptors looking for more of those Tempests. They get the Oracles. They do get 1 more. We're down to 4. Decent Storms. They do zone back those Corruptors. But the High Templar, they just got... They can't touch them. They can't push in. The Lunkers. After that fight, yeah, 2 High Templar went down. 3 Tempests. That was 2 Tempests over here and then 1 Tempest across the map. I love using the Broodlords to like force an overreaction with the Tempests, and despite there being 2 recalls available, it just is a good way to try to pull the Protoss apart. But another base has gotten up and running. We still have banks for days. Like, we still have a solid economy here for both players. Speaking of, as Harstem is revealed here on creep, we do go for the right-hand side. We should be evacuating with these Lurkers. We're gonna get 1. We should get 1. Oh my god, just barely we do. Center base is gonna go down. That's a kill, not a cancel. Once again, Serral, he's trying to force this army to expose itself. This is what I was worried about. Yeah, this base on left-hand side is gonna be taken by Serral. He will have more mining. So we have 7 bases from Harstem, 9 bases here for Serral, which is brutal. With a long game Serral, he will have more resources. Meanwhile, he catches an Archon, catches a carrier. Oh god, almost caught a carrier. Almost did catch a carrier as well, as Harstem was just trying to rotate between the bases. Did get caught out. Tempest, they still here on the right-hand side, still not responding. Harstem is trying to get into carrier production. Attempting to. We do come across this base, though. Drones are going to go down. Ultras have arrived. But the space is going to fall. Yeah, pretty important here that Harstem denies this hatchery. The probes. Yeah, at this point, we're kind of running out of bases to mine, so throwing away workers makes sense. Feels bad, man. Probes being sent to their death. Another kill, another cancel in the hatchery. Oh, but here come the Neurals. Looks like we are able to catch this army. Yeah, big Neurals here on the Archons. Ultras push forward. They do avoid some of those storms. Up. Yeah, the High Templar forced them off into Archons. Looks like we can keep pushing though. Serral backing off to the safety of those mine crawlers. Yeah, we get the counter neural as well. So really nice trades here from Serral. Again, he forced all the High Templar to morph into Archons. And Harstem, he's... where are we going? We're pushing deep on the creep here. A big overextension from Harstem. He's going to lose a couple of extra units here in the retreat. Caught out of the map. Meanwhile, from this location, we can actually try to deny some more of these bases. Here, Mothership goes in. Storm zones Serral away. Vipers, fine. Let's go. Finally, we have some Vipers on the way, so we can actually try to, again, be a little bit more aggressive. Big Ultra counterattack forces a recall as well. We recall the Skytoss, actually. Uh-oh. That means the Broodlords, yep, Broodlords, they can push in. Big reaction from Harstem. I think the big mistake here was recalling the Mothership. Because he recalled the Mothership, that means he can't recall back here to the front lines. So the Broodlords, yeah, they're going to be able to go to town on this stack defense. Harstem out of position. Again, that's something really important that we have to keep track of here, is like the recalls and the positioning of the Mothership. Like, recalls are so important here in the late game for Protoss. As we're committing, we're pushing. Take down a base, activate the cloak. Serral, he has to respect this, he has to respond. Yeah, another hatchery gonna be going down. Big move out from Harstem. Serral taking it slow and steady, he's waiting for his Broodlords. It takes a long time for them to rotate over. Broodlords, they have arrived. Vipers as well, they're topped up on energy, which means we can abduct, we can parasitic bomb. Meanwhile, the Ultras, they rotate over towards the right. Again, Ultras are more mobile. So we're going to be trading a base for a base. Serral did lose control here of the left-hand side, but Harstem's going to be losing control of the right. And again, he already recalled. If the Mothership was here, then we could recall back, but it isn't. The base is going to fall. 31 probes as well. And because Harstem gave up on this right-hand side, that means the gold. The gold is now back in control of Serral. Oof, yeah, and you can see like how things snowball out of control based off of one recall. Like one recall, and then again the Skytoss army is just so slow to maneuver around. We lose control of this entire location. We can even keep pushing. Oh my god. And now Harstem has to pull back to the right-hand side to save what? He already lost control of this area, which means he exposes the left-hand side instead. We'll see where the Ultras go. Big fumble! Ay, forced to recall. Recall to the Mothership. But because we know where the Skytoss is, that means, yep, the Ultras, they can push to the left. Just constantly just pulling Harstem apart. It took a while, like Harstem was able to keep up for a very long time, but like recently he's been having a hard time just keeping up. Oh, 2 carriers go down, big abductions. Main army does dance here with the Broodlords and the Skytoss, or the Sky Zerg of Serral. And as the army's distracted, here come those Ultras, just constantly going for run-bys. Here goes a recall. This is going to be the base recall, which means both recalls are now on cooldown, both the base and the Mothership, which means this is vulnerable. Where does Serral go from here? Sharking around, looking for a dive. Now we do have 10 carriers. That's like this army is pretty terrifying. The Mothership, no, -300, -300. Ay. This army is pretty terrifying. Like this is like the kind of late game army you want here. We've got 10 carriers, 6 Tempests. How many High Templar? 7 High Templar, each with multitude of storms. Like this army can win a fight. But Serral hasn't been engaging head-on. He's just been going for constant ultra counterattacks. Always picking away like 1 or 2 Tempests, getting a fungal here and there. Speaking of, big fungal in the army. Ooh, nice feedbacks though. Good counter feedbacks at Harstem. He can keep pushing. Yeah, this base is going to go down. Serral has to give up in this position. At the same time though, here come those ultras at the base on the left-hand side. As they go in, they pick off another Tempest. 1 unit at a time. Looks like the ultras, they do not find a way in. Too many cannons. And here we go. This is it for Harstem. This is his chance. He's breaking through. Takes down the gold, takes out another base. And Serral, he cannot fight this head on. He's been trying to pick away at this army, but there's still too many carriers and too many storms. Can we do it? Oh, we go for the Parabomb. Big storms here on the Corruptors. Forcing Serral back. Forcing him all the way back to the main base. Harstem still with another storm. No! A full NG High Templar just went down. I was going to say he still had plenty of storms left. I think he has 1. He has 1 storm remaining. These carries are very low. How many Corruptors? We're on 29 Corruptors. Serral, he's out of a bank. Both players are. Serral has minerals, but no more gas. Oh my god. Good kiting here from Serral. Yeah, he's diving on forward. Oh, do we have a storm? We have 1 storm left. 2. The final storms, but it's not enough. We have a mass surround here of Corruptors. We clean up the Sky Toss. We clean up the Ground Toss. GG gets called, and Serral will take game number 1. Whew. But that was close. GG. Serral was just picking Harstem apart left and right economically, but Harstem, throughout all of that, was building up that death bull of an army. Just sent it across the map. It was all or nothing for Harstem. He didn't really have too much more longevity in that game. Almost pulled it off. Forced Serral all the way back into his main base. Alas, just barely didn't have enough to keep up with the Corruptor count, to keep up with the surround, the eventual surround. GG. But that was close. That was a close fight towards the end, not gonna lie. GG. Serral does take it, but that could have very easily gone in favor of Harstem. Like, again, if he had... There was that one moment where it was like these like little details, right? Where like 1 High Templar overextended. It was a full health... full NG High Templar as well that went down towards the end. If that was kept alive, you know, would 2 more storms have made the difference? Would 1 extra Archon have made the difference? 1 extra Tempest or anything like that? Like, GG. GG, well played. Serral takes it. And now we're getting into game number 2. Whew. Who won Harstem a laser? That was a laser. It went to the ace match. Went in favor of a laser. Oh, hi. Now we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have the red Protoss player representing Shopify Rebellion. Oh, down in this series where that game went the distance, it is Harstem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Zerg player representing Team Basilisk, leading the series 1-0. It is Serral. Serral has a bigger bank. He did have a bigger bank, but he spent all of it. Like, that's how close it was. I don't know if you saw, at the end of that game, Serral had like 67 gas. Like, he had nothing left in the bank, at least when it comes to gas. He had minerals. He had like 4k minerals to like make lings and queens, but like, he had just expended everything on those Corruptors. Goes to show that despite Serral having a better economy throughout that game and having a better bank, it still went down to it. GG. GG, well played. Now we're getting to that second game. Now, we have seen Harstem already on Hecate earlier against a laser, and he had a really peculiar build. If you remember, it was Blink Stalkers, then into Sky Toss. It was a little bit disjointed and a little bit, it did have a hard time really at the gate. We'll see if Harstem has a different approach here against Serral. Again, it was a pretty brutal, like a long and intense and stamina draining game number 1. So I don't know if Harstem really wants to embrace the late game again against Serral. Here we go. So we are just getting into this. So far, Serral going for a Hatch Gas Full Force, like the unnatural natural. Behind this, Harstem going for a Gate Expand into the Cybercore as well. We are just going to be settling into this. Settling into game 2. Nothing out of the norm yet. This should still be a Stargate. If you recall, last game, Harstem did go Void Ray first. It was the first time he had done so tonight. Earlier against Alasia, who was going Oracle first every game. So really curious to see what kind of direction Harstem takes us in. Whether he goes Void Ray again or the Oracle. There's value in both. Definitely. There's value in both, but the Void Ray would be a bit of a tell that he wants to hide his tech and hide his follow-up. See what direction we do go in. For now, Link Scout is going to be dipping in towards that natural. Getting a free scout of what comes next, and Serral will get eyes on the Stargate, and potentially even the first unit coming out as well. As the Adept is on the chase. There it is, Oracle production has commenced. So this time we are switching things up. Game 1 was Void Ray, Game 2 going to be the Oracle. A lot more standard, a lot more by the book. Wasn't scattered by the Ling, so Serral not fully aware of what's going to be coming his way, but can make an assumption that it is going to be the Oracle. As he's going to be getting ready back at home. Adepts are moving out, Queens are in position. We have 2 Queens here at the natural. We have soon to be 2 Queens in the main. No Spore Crawlers yet, so we have to rely on Lings and Queens to defend for the time being. Lings, they will get across the map. And they will delay the third. Ay, ay, ay. They get here just in time. The probe goes down. The third is delayed. Likewise, we have plenty of Lings back at home. We get a surround on the Adepts. Oracle's coming into support, but it looks like one Adept is going to go down. The Queens make it in. We go for the second Adept. We do commit to the Shade. Adept does escape. Oh my god, but we have dealt so much damage to that Oracle. Ay, ay, ay. And we have killed 0 drones. Not the best start here for Harstem. He's unable to kill any workers across the map, and his third base is still not thrown down. Again, these Lings being such a nuisance. Forcing another activation of the Pulsar Beam. Finally, the third base is thrown down here by Harstem. Behind this, we have a Twilight Council on the way. As we pick off another probe. Oh my, can we get the Adepts? The Pulsar Beam runs that we can. The Adept goes down as well. Serral just getting so many little wins here in the early game. Picking off probes, Adepts left and right, denying any kind of damage done to his economy. Ay, ay, ay. Behind this, we are getting into +1 and getting into a Forge for +1 alongside, I imagine, Blink, but last game Harstem did go Charge, so we'll see which direction he goes in this time. There it is. Blink is on the way. So Harstem having a bit of a different approach, which I do appreciate. Everyone is going to be shut down. Adepts continue to threaten that Shade across the map. Oh, and this time we do get in. Finally, drones are falling. We get 2 workers. We could maybe get a 3rd worker as well. Oh. These Adepts do fall. Oracles, they threaten that mineral line, but again, Queens are in position. We do zone them away. And Harstem is forced back. I did mention before that, again, this is very unique to Harstem, but he often does delay his Forge. As opposed to most players that do invest and get both the Forge and Twilight Council at the same time. Just a little bit delayed here. Just very Harstem-esque. Stalkers are moving out. And how many gateways are we on here? We're still on 4, soon to be 6 gateways. Harstem applying some pressure. He's got Oracles to support him. He is pushing before Blink, but that's why the Oracles are here. So make sure he can clean up those Lings in case he does get surrounded. Throwing down a proxy pylon. He wants to keep the pressure up. Harstem's goal here is to break this 4th base. Can he pull it off? Stasis traps are on the way. Blink just now finishing. Serral coming in from behind, trying to trigger some of those stasis traps. Does come across the pylon and the gateway as well. Serral, he knows how committed Harstem is. That's going to be a 7th gateway here proxied. +1 still on the horizon. Nice snap on the Ravager. We do manage to blink away. Again, very limited creep spread here on the right-hand side. Serral going for a counterattack. Gonna try to hold on with his roaches. But the Stalkers are gaining ground. They're gonna be able to pick off a queen. They do get a queen. They force back some of these roaches as well. At the same time, the Lings, they do hit the third base. Overcharges pop, but we can get on top of it. No, we respect it. We respect the overcharge. We back off, and we can go for a surround. Yeah, the Lings coming in from behind. Harstem has to be very careful with how he maneuvers, forcing out a blink as well. Throughout all of this, the economy has been untouched. Serral is on 70 workers. He's injecting. Keeping up with his opponent, does lose another queen. And Harstem expanding towards Serral here. A bold move. Very bold, as he does get denied. It's going to be a cancel on the 4th. Just hyper aggression here out of Harstem. Very committed. It's all or nothing with this gateway army. And again, he has to break this base. It's getting low. But the Stalkers, they're being forced back. The Roach Ravager getting on top of them. Bleeding out a little bit too much. It's going to be 12 dead Stalkers. Trading 1-for-1 with the Roaches. We want to trade a little bit more efficiently. Another Stalker goes down. Another massive wave of Stalkers fall. We gain control of this base, of this area. GG gets called. Harstem, he loses too much momentum. He was committed. He was pretty all in. And Serral will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. If Harstem had taken the base, if he had actually gotten that 4th up and running, then maybe he could sustain himself. With that Nexus, he would have also had a shield battery and an overcharge on the front lines, which would have been huge. But with the denial of that Nexus, did lose a lot of momentum there. And once he lost control of that position, that was it. It was all over. GG. Serral will take it 2-0, but a big shout out to Harstem. Again, game 1 was very close. Like, he was able to make a game out of it, make a series out of it. Did get 2-0'd, but I don't think that really tells like how Harstem was able to take it to Serral in the late game of game 1. It was impressive. GG. GG, well played. It was impressive. And with that, we're now going to be delving into our next series here, into another best of 3, featuring some other players in this group. Up next is going to be Dolan versus DNS. Let's go.